Hey everybody, hope you're having a great day. Welcome back to Follow Me 11B. Discussions on current events, macroeconomics, and freedom and liberty from a veteran's perspective. Today I wanted to talk some good news. The lifting of the federal mask mandate. I also wanted to discuss, I'm going to temper that good news with some potentially bad news. So let's start things off by going to a Guardian news article I came across by Jess Glenza from the 19th of April, which I am just realizing I do not have a title for. However, it's by Jess Glenza from the 19th of April from the Guardian. And skipping through some of the first paragraph, Joe Biden's national mask mandate. The White House to announce the rule would not be enforced while federal agencies decide how to respond to the judge's order. The ruling appeared to free operators to make their own decisions about mask requirements. Whoa! Wait a second. Operators and people can make their own decisions without the government's permission? Whoa! There's an idea. With several airlines announcing they would drop mandates, but other transport networks, including the New York City subway, planning to keep them in place. The mandate was overturned on Monday by the U.S. District Judge Catherine Kimball Mizell in Tampa, who judged the rule as exceeding the authority of U.S. health officials in the illness pandemic. Still not sure if we can say that word yet without getting gigged by our YouTube overlords. She added that the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, had failed to justify its decision and did not follow proper rulemaking procedures. In her 59-page ruling, Mizell said the only remedy was to vacate the rule entirely because it would be impossible to end it for the limited group who objected to it in the lawsuit. Here's a quote. Because our system does not permit agencies to act unlawfully, even in pursuit of desirable ends, the court declares unlawful and vacates the mask mandate, she wrote. So, just stop there for a second. Because our system does not permit agencies to act unlawfully, even in pursuit of desirable ends. So, just because something may or may not be for the greater good, we have a system. It's called the legal system, and we have to abide by that. We don't grant the president the power of an emperor, the authority of, demigods, nor do we do that for any of our governmental agencies and bodies, particularly the ones that aren't even elected. The White House later said the court ruling meant that, for now, the mask order is, quote, not in effect, and would not be enforced by the Transportation Security Administration, the TSA. The CDC had recently extended the transportation mask mandate, which was set to expire on the 3rd of May, to allow more time to study the illness 19 BA.2 Omicron subvariant that is now responsible for the vast majority of U.S. cases. Now, I thought this was a little bit weird because this is part of the article in the next paragraph, but I don't know if this is just the Guardian inserting their own editorial here, or this is something by the CDC, but it's not quoted properly. Well-fitted, high-quality masks help control the illness transmission by preventing people from spreading virus-laden droplets or inhaling those expelled by others. I wanted to get into that for a quick second, too. Being a member of the healthcare industry, direct care, right now, in addition to being a veteran, work in healthcare now for many years, and let me say this again, well-fitted, high-quality masks, which are not what 99% of the people walking around every day are wearing. They're wearing cloth masks, or they're wearing paper masks that are like this, or like this. They're not covering everything they should be covering, and if they are, they're old masks. They're masks that have been worn for weeks and weeks. That are no longer doing what they're supposed to do. They may have gotten wet. They may be worn backwards or inside out. So, point is, most people are not wearing N95 masks. And if they are, most people aren't even wearing those correctly. To get them fit properly, you have to get a fitting for your mask. You have to put your N95 mask on, go to a special location. They put a hood on you. They fill the hood with stinky gas. If you can smell the gas, then you know it's not fitted properly, and then you have to get it refitted, do the whole thing again. Most people in society don't do that. I, because I am one of the healthcare profession, have done that. I know people that have done that also in the healthcare profession. No one outside of the healthcare profession that I have ever met have done that. So, just saying. Moving on to the article. Some air carriers, including Alaska Airlines, Delta, United, and United welcomed the move on Monday by saying that masks for travelers would now be optional. Holy cow, optional. So people can make their own flight-related decisions. Wow. They've got like some of the best air filtration systems in any setting in the on airplanes right now. With the HEPA filters and the constant filtration of air. I mean, you're probably safer there than you are at most places, certainly at airports. So, that said, I wanted to jump to another one from NPR, an article entitled, "Why the Government's Slow Move to Appeal the Mask Decision May Be a Legal Strategy." This is one's from April 22nd, 2022, by Selena Simmons-Duffin. When U.S. District Judge Catherine Kimball Mizell entered the mask mandate on transportation with the stroke of a pen on Monday, the Department of Justice said nothing. Tuesday, the department said it may appeal if the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention decided masks were still necessary. Wednesday, justice officials finally announced that they would appeal the decision. But the department still hasn't asked the judge to put a temporary pause on her far-reaching decision while the legal process plays out. As far as I know, that still has not happened either. However, the appeal has happened. Got my eyeballs on that earlier today. Back to the article, though. For many observers, this all seems puzzlingly slow. The opinion itself came in for some strongly worded criticism, like legal abomination, because of its poor reasoning and rejection of established legal norms. To some, her interpretation of the law seemed poised to hamstring the CDC now and in the future. We can only hope, because that will be setting precedent for other agencies to not be able to just, with the stroke of their own pens, these unelected officials just do whatever they want and shut down your business, shut down schools, basically ruin people's lives. So, and I do think it's interesting that they use the quotation legal abomination and poor reasoning and rejection of established legal norms. She had a 59-page position on her decision that you can review. But this is 59 pages that's discussing how an unelected body does not have the authority. She didn't say this is a good idea, this is a bad idea. She just said they don't have the authority to exercise this idea on like the entire population of the United States. That's basically what it said. But I digress. Law professor Stephen Vladeck at the University of Texas has a theory for why the Justice Department may be taking its time. If the government's goal was to actually, here's a quote, if the government's goal was to actually have the mandate be in effect, we would have seen it move faster, he says. We would expect it to be seeking emergency relief by asking Judge Mizell to stay her ruling, and then, when she says no, by asking the Federal Court of Appeals in Atlanta to freeze her ruling pending the government's appeal. Instead, the goal may be to wipe off the books Judge Mizell's ruling, striking it down, he explains. And that doesn't require the governments to move nearly as quickly. Indeed, it might even make more sense for the government in that case to actually go a little more slowly. Here's why. The CDC's mask requirement on planes, trains, and other modes of transportation was set to expire on May 3rd anyway. Without a mask mandate in effect, in appealing the case, Vladeck says the government can say, look, we're not going to have a chance to argue why Judge Mizell's ruling was incorrect. Therefore, the proper thing to do is to wipe the ruling off the books and just dismiss this entire lawsuit. This idea goes back to a lawsuit involving Munsingwear, a Minnesota-based underwear company in the 1940s. The government sued the company, alleging it was violating wartime price regulations by overpricing its heavily knitted underwear. But it took years for the case to go through the appeals process, and by then, the products were no longer subject to price controls, so the controversy was moot. Enter the Munsingwear doctrine, which the Supreme Court established in its 1950 United States versus Munsingwear decision. Basically, when a dispute becomes moot during the appeals process, the appellate court should generally vacate the lower court's ruling. Here's another quote. It's very hard to predict doctrine, warns Matthew Lawrence, who teaches law at Emory and used to work at the Department of Justice. But essentially, in some circumstances, the appellate courts will, in deciding that the case is moot, also wipe it off the books. In the CDC mask mandate case, the district court's rulings were vacated. If the district court's rulings were vacated, then it would be as if the court had never ruled, legally speaking, says Lawrence. So, just an idea or two to throw around in your brain while we're waiting it out to see what the feds do with the lifting of the mask mandate. Meanwhile, liberals, the left-wingers, hard left-wingers, more than likely, I would guess, are really, kind of going a little bit crazy on this topic. I mean, I would ask, just leave us alone, guys. Come on. I mean, if the masks work as well as you say, then wear a mask. No one's stopping you from wearing the dang mask. Just wear your mask. Let everybody that doesn't want to wear the mask leave us alone. Okay? Thank you. This is like the worst political move ever. I don't know who came up with the idea to, unless this doctrine, this underwear doctrine is what they're going for, I don't know why they would even try to appeal this. People hate the mask doctrine. I mean, the left is cruising for a bruising in November in the elections, and this is not going to help that cause. So if they care at all about their reelection, which, my basic stance on politics in general is politicians' North Star and their general rule of thumb is, hey, if it helps get me elected, then I'm going to do it. Meanwhile, I just wanted to touch on one other thing. I saw a video, I think it was from April 20th. It was a CNN New Day clip from that show, and it had Sanjay Gupta, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, just talking about basically, really sad and somber about how, how he really can't believe that this has happened. It's a legal decision. It's not a public health decision, but it doesn't matter. We have a system, Dr. Gupta. And you'd think that after he was taken to the woodshed by Joe Rogan recently about, other illness-related topics that CNN just totally, went berserk on and totally I want to say drop the ball, but they didn't really drop the ball. They just totally, blew things out of proportion. And Rogan had every right to go after Gupta on his show. And he didn't have a good response for Rogan's questions. But make a long story short, if you like masks, wear masks. If you don't like masks, don't wear masks. It's that simple, guys. Come on. I mean, I can go into studies about the effectiveness and the efficacy of mask wearing. I won't do that now, maybe in a future video. But for now, the good news is the mask mandates have been lifted. All right. The bad news is they've appealed the ruling and they might come back in the future. Not great. So I would love to hear what you guys think about the topic of mask mandates, though, in the comments section of this video. And in the meantime, while I'm waiting for those to roll in, please like us, follow us at Facebook and Twitter at FollowMe11B, and at Instagram and now on Rumble at TheRealFollowMe11B. And don't forget, if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. In the meantime, we'll see you all in the next video.